Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back another video today, and today we have breaking news in the NBA. The Denver Nuggets have fired their head coach, Michael Malone, who has been their head coach since the 2015-16 season, and just a couple years ago in the 2022-23 season, led them to a NBA championship with 53-29, and last year, 2023-24 season, went 57-25, and possibly would have had the chance to get 50 wins this season. I don't know how likely that would have been if Malone finishes out the year. You have the Kings, the Grizzlies, and Rockets to finish out the season. As a Rockets fan, I will say this. That's a Sunday game. Rockets will probably already clinch the 1 seed. The 2 seed by Sunday when that matchup happens. Maybe that's a harder matchup for the Nuggets if the Rockets are fully healthy. But I think if you're the Rockets, most likely, if you've already clinched the number 2 seed by the last game of the season, the Rockets are probably resting their starters. Denver is going to need to play their players for seeding. So that should be a winnable game for Denver against my favorite team, the Rockets. And the reason I say that is because I'm sure the Rockets starters will be resting. And then the Grizzlies, Kings, those are some teams that will, have, some things to fight for. But if Jokic is healthy, if you got some of your guys on the floor, even though the Nuggets are really playing bad right now, you'd imagine they should win the last 3 games. Do they? I don't know. But so I feel like if Michael Malone was still the Grizzlies head coach, he would have had a solid chance to have his 3rd straight 50 plus or 50 or more win season. But no, the Nuggets are firing the coach who, in his time in Denver, in his 10 seasons, has, this team has gone 471 and 327. This team has gone to the playoffs almost every season Michael Malone has been their head coach. The first 3 seasons, they did not go to the postseason. His first 3 seasons, his 3rd season, they came very close. They were a game away from going to the postseason. I remember it was a game between them and the Timberwolves. Jimmy Butler was in Minnesota, and whoever won that game was the 8th seed, and Denver lost. And then that year, Minnesota faced the Rockets as the 8th seed, who were the best team in basketball that year. And so first 3 seasons doesn't make the postseason. But then the last 6 seasons, they have been in the playoffs. This season are going to be in the playoffs. They might have to be in the play-in. There is a small chance they could be a play-in team right now. But so with the success he's had with this team, I think it's dumb to let him go. Honestly, it's the same thing with Taylor Jenkins. If this is a move that happens after the season, I feel like the way you go about it is, okay, if it's after the season, if this is a move that happens after the season, it's not surprising. It's not that dumb. And the interim head coach is going to be David Adelman, I think it's Adelman. Funny enough, I was just talking about him a couple weeks ago on here as a potential candidate for the Memphis Grizzlies head coaching job. Now he's going to get some experience as the head coach for Denver. I don't think he's that bad of an addition. He's been assistant for this Denver coach as long as Michael Malone has been the head coach for them, and he's had many opportunities or interviews as a head coach. I know the Lakers last year were a team that were looking at him. So you've got a very good experienced head coach here in Dave Adelman. I don't think, is he Michael Malone? No. But it's not. I don't think it's that bad of it's not that bad of a replacement. But you don't want to go into the playoffs with a head coach who has no experience coaching. He's going to only have 3 games in the regular season before the postseason starts in order to get comfortable as the head coach, not only as doing what he's doing, but getting comfortable with the players. I'm sure he has good relationships with the players already, but that's as him as an assistant coach, not as an interim head coach. And so you've only got 3, at least with the Memphis interim head coach, he had a couple weeks. Because Memphis fired Taylor Jenkins a couple weeks ago. He's had a couple weeks. And David Adelman only has 3 games to get comfortable as the interim, and then it's playoffs, or potentially have to play in the play-in, or for him coach in the play-in. And so that's what I don't not very confident in with this Nuggets team. And you also got most of this Denver team, all of their careers have been coached by Mike Malone. Most of their starting lineup, the only coach they've ever played for in the NBA is Michael Malone. You look at Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Christian Brown, and Michael Porter Jr. All 4 of those guys, Aaron Gordon's a little bit different because he played in Orlando. All 4 of those guys in the starting lineup for Denver, in their career, the only guy to coach them is Mike Malone. I just don't understand it. And they also fired their GM Calvin Booth. That's not surprising. That's not so surprising. His contract was up at the end of the season. There were a lot of questions of whether he would return, and there were you've got guys like Shams and Brian Windhorst saying on TV that it was well known league around the league that it wouldn't be surprising if Calvin Booth was not the GM for the Nuggets next season. But what I don't think anybody expected was for Michael Malone to be gone from this Nuggets team. Maybe it wouldn't be that big of a surprise if they did it after the playoffs. But I think that I think it is crazy not to give the guy. I think it's a little bit different if they didn't win the championship. You win if you don't win the championship. I think it's a little bit different. But this is a guy who a couple years ago was the head coach for this Nuggets championship team, and was a big part of that team. His coaching was a big part of that team. If you got a guy that helped you win a championship, you give him the opportunity to. Maybe you have some doubt in him as the head coach. Maybe you have some doubt in the way he's coaching. But since he helped you win a championship, you give him the opportunity to coach in the playoffs. I just don't understand it. I really don't. I know there were some talks about maybe his temper and how angry he gets potentially is a part of this. That definitely definitely could be a part of it. But still, I honestly am loss of words of this firing. This is up there with the Luka trade and the Taylor Jenkins firing. I mean, I would say this is more surprising than the Jenkins firing. Look, it's no disrespect to Taylor Jenkins. He's a great head coach, but the farthest he went with the Grizzlies was the Western Conference semifinals. Meanwhile, you got Michael Malone, a guy who just a couple years ago won a championship with this team. So, yeah, I think a lot of people are surprised. It's the latest head coaching fire you've seen since Hubie Brown was fired. And Hubie Brown has been commentating in the NBA for like 30, 40 years, something like that. And just literally, he's 90 years old, just retired from coaching. From broadcasting. So it's been about 30, 40 years since you've seen this happen this late into the season, firing head coach. And even dumber that it's one where it's a playoff coach, a guy that's Denver has been in the playoffs all the way since 2018-19 season every year. Led by Michael Malone, and they're going to be in the playoffs again this year, most likely, or at least the play-in. And you fire him. You fire him at this point. It just doesn't make sense. But we'll see how this turns out for Denver and Memphis, who both have decided to fire their head coaches, who have led them to multiple playoff series, multiple playoff trips. And when they start to struggle, you start to fire them. You decide to fire them. So, let me know your thoughts on this move by Denver in the comment section, and peace out.